there, folks. Welcome back to Chits and Cardboard. And contrary to popular belief, not every game out there could be a 10 out of 10.
Getting rid of board games is really tough. It's a hard decision, but sometimes it needs to be done.
Yeah, so we're getting rid of 20 games today. If you want to hear about those games and why we might be getting rid of them, stick around. We'll tell you all about it. So we're trying something new here in the sense that this is more conversational type content and less, edited and...
Yeah, not as much B-roll.
Not as much B-roll, not as much premeditation, I'd say. So the first game I'm getting rid of.
Yes.
So I haven't gotten rid of a lot of my gateway games from when I got into the hobby, mostly because I haven't done a big call yet.
Yeah.
So the first game I'm getting rid of is one of what I consider a gateway game. It's a cooperative game where you're moving pawns around a map trying to do some stuff. I don't remember it very well. It's called Forbidden Desert.
Oh, okay. I haven't played that one.
I'm getting rid of Forbidden Desert and Forbidden Island. I'm just realizing that type of game isn't for me. And if I was to reapproach it, I'd probably try Forbidden Sky or Forbidden Jungle.
Okay, cool.
Newer.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried that?
No, I haven't played either of those. And I think that's the reason, like, we have so many games between our collections that are go-to games and gateway games and kind of fit in that niche. So if they're not getting played, like, those are good choices.
Yeah, and if I'm playing a cooperative, like, intro game, I'm playing like Pandemic, or I'm playing Art Project, or I'm playing, and if I want something heavier, I'm playing Uprising, Curse of the Last Emperor, or I'm playing Spirit Island or something like that. I'm not playing Forbidden Desert or Forbidden Island ever.
Yeah, fair. No, good choices, I think.
That's my thought.
All right, number two.
Number two pains me 'cause it's a game I actually really want to play, but I don't really play games solo, full disclosure, and nobody wants to play this with me, so it's putting it to the table. That game is 11.
Okay, yeah.
11 is like a football manager. When I say football, I mean like European football, not it's like soccer. Soccer manager type of game. It's a Euro game where you're managing a football team, picking your players, your coaches, your staff, and then seeing how they perform over a season. I love FIFA and I love FM, the video game. So I thought I'd be all over this, and I probably would be all over this, but finding people to play it has been a challenge.
Yeah, that's one that's been on the shelf for a long time, and like nobody's really gravitated towards that in terms of our group and everything. So
Yeah, and look, don't get me wrong, if the Kickstarter Deluxe Edition that comes with the solo campaign or something becomes available at some point, I might pick that up and play it by myself.
Oh, fair.
But like, I'm not going to keep the edition I have now. It just doesn't seem very worth it. Anyway, that's number two.
Okay. All right. What's next?
Next up is it's a really cool action selection Euro game.
Okay.
It's about like building mountains and scoring for building mountains and pleasing the mountain gods and literally shifting Earth and stuff.
Okay, I think I know which one this
and
is.
that game is called Oros.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm getting rid of Oros because I feel like it has the player left out problem, not because I don't like the game. So the game is really cool. The action selection's awesome. The engine building's awesome. It's very tough with the groups we play with to explain to one person, hey, your game's basically dead because you're not in an area where everyone else is. And Oros is one of those games where if you're all close together, it's very easy to build upon what the other person's doing. But like if you're separated from everybody, you kind of have to build by yourself and everything.
Yeah, you're on your own and everything's harder.
And then going to where everyone else is also just kills so much time. You've basically lost at that point.
Yeah.
I have the Kickstarter Deluxe Edition. I'll probably give it away, to be honest. But
when we hit 1,000 subscribers, we're also going to be doing a big giveaway.
Yes, true. Yeah. Next up, and this is going to upset some of the hardcore gamers in the community.
Ooh, spicy.
Is like an area majority game.
Okay, I don't like what you're saying.
Where you're exploring, let's call them pyramids.
I think it's Tikal.
Yeah, it is Tikal.
Yeah, okay.
So Tikal is heartbreaking because I've 3D printed pyramids for it. I've 3D printed tokens for it.
Yeah, because you have the older version, right?
And I have the older version. I have the Geek Up tokens, and I did meeples and stuff for it. I've deluxified the heck out of that game. And I really enjoy area control games. I really enjoy action selection games. But once again, there's not really many realms where I'm able to get that to the table over something like Wonderland's War or PAX Pamir.
Yeah, there's so many other games that fit in that.
And now I know they're not the same game. It just never gets tabled.
Yeah, no,
which is sad because I like it.
We haven't tabled it once in the past like year and a half, something like that. So it'll go to somebody else eventually, and they'll maybe get some enjoyment out of it, right?
Another thing is like for two of these, so for Tikal and actually more later, my friends have these games.
Yeah.
So I don't need to keep my copy necessarily, especially my deluxified whatever copy. Like if I need Tikal, I could just go to Leo and be like, hey, Leo, I want to borrow Tikal for a weekend. He's probably fine with it.
Yeah, 100%. And that's one of the things with the amount of people that we have in our gaming group
Yeah.
and the amount of games that everybody has, there is some overlap. So when people are getting rid of games, like, do we really need
Another
2 or
person
3
who has
copies
it.
of that game, right?
Yeah, we've sold a bunch of copies of Twilight Imperium across the group.
That's very true. Somebody still has one. I can't remember who
Leo
it is,
has
but
one.
yeah.
Anyway, next on the list is one of Sandra's games, which is always a dangerous proposition.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
yeah,
she approved
that's definitely
this sale.
spicy. Okay.
She has 10 of the same game. It's like these tile laying,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
like you're just trying to make
yeah.
patterns score points kind of games, and it is Gartenbau.
Okay. All right.
Gartenbau, the appeal of it's you're building a garden, you're like going around, like I think it's supposed to be a sun or something, but like going around this ring, kind of like park style, stopping along the way to grab stuff. Depending where you stop, you get different things.
I've taken a look at this game, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, basically like then you buy plants, and those plants go in your garden, and then combinations of plants turn into different plants, which turn into different plants, which score points. Yeah. It's got layers. It's cool. It's another one of like Azul Queen's Garden, Cascadia, Calico, Verdant, Sagrada, Patchwork.
Yeah.
It's just not another game that stands out against those. And truthfully, it's standing on the shoulders of giants. Like I'd prefer to play Life of the Amazonia or something than play it anyway.
All right. So what's your next one?
The next one is a AR style murder mystery game.
Okay.
And it's only being gotten rid of because I love Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective so much.
Fair.
And that game is Chronicles of Crime.
Okay.
So Chronicles of Crime is it's like a phone game where you scan. It's not a phone game. It's a board game where you're scanning QR codes, trying to like
utilizing
find
an app.
Murder. Yeah, using an app, trying to solve a murder mystery. And apps take me out of it a lot.
They can.
As far as the immersion goes.
Some do it really well, but
I'd say this is one of the ones that does it really well.
Fair.
I think Chronicles of Crime is fantastically done. It'll have like an AR, like you can point your phone around like an imaginary room, and you could find like evidence and stuff, and use that evidence to find killers. It's really, really brilliant. It just wasn't for me. The next one is Great Western Trail Argentina.
Oh, okay.
And it's only because I have Great Western Trail New Zealand.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
That's the only reason for that. Great Western Trail is a great game. I prefer New Zealand to Argentina. After that is Time Stories.
Okay.
Now, Time Stories is a really cool concept. It's
really
kind of
is.
like you play through a scenario. Basically, you get to a certain point in the story, and then you find out, well, I can't pass this point, or I lose at this point because I didn't do this other thing earlier.
Yeah.
So you have to go restart and do it again, and then you get to another point further along, and you're like, oh, well, I had to do this thing earlier, and you start and you do it again. And if I remember the base box,
really cool
without
concept.
spoilers, the scenario in the base box was really cool. But the second you get into expansion content, each expansion tries to add something new.
More elements rather than
more or different, or
giving
like
you a different scenario necessarily.
Yeah, it tries to add more mechanics, and I didn't love some of the expansions.
Yeah, fair.
And it's also like one-shot stuff. Once you've played through it, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
What you do to win.
Once you've solved it, you've solved it. I think that's naturally a game that has its playthrough, and once you've done that, it gets passed on to somebody else.
As it is. Anyway, Time Stories.
Yeah, fair. All right, what's up next?
Next is a game that'll hurt you, even though I've played it. Friends have it. You've played it.
Okay.
It is Sleeping Gods.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a surprise.
I actually really enjoy Sleeping Gods.
It's a great game.
I've played through Sleeping Gods.
Yep.
Sean has Sleeping Gods.
Yes, he does.
That's why I'm getting rid of Sleeping Gods.
Fair. Yeah, okay.
Anytime I'm going to play, it's probably going to be with that group.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, there's so many campaign games I want to play, like Tainted Grail, we're playing through ISS right now. I want to play Oathsworn. We have so many campaigns we want to go through that I don't see myself getting back to Sleeping Gods, especially because I've already played it and finished it a couple times.
Okay, so your next one.
My next one is going to be a controversial shot. It is a Stonemaier Games game.
Okay.
And we love you, Jamie. This is not a shot at Stonemaier Games at all.
I think I know which one
this
this is
game's
going to be.
just not for me.
Yeah.
I've actually owned it 3 times and sold it all 3 times because I kept wanting to give it a shot, but I just never can make it work.
Is this one that you have a big box of?
No. It's a Scythe.
Oh, not where I thought you were going with that.
So I'm getting rid of Scythe. Look, it's a 3.5x. It's a fun 3.5x. Yep. It's
a great game. It's a staple in the hobby.
Staple in the hobby. Yeah. I still recommend it for someone who's trying to get into the hobby. I don't even know. I don't table it that much. I find like we missed the wave on it. I'm not playing it that much. Nobody asked me to play it that much. I don't actively seek out playing it versus other like 3.5, 4x type games. Just not getting tabled.
Well, there's so many games that are similar in that vein and in that niche, right? Like, there's so many different choices, and there's so many new ones coming out all the time.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so what's your next one?
The next one is Seventh Continent.
Okay, this is interesting.
And it's a very popular game.
Yeah.
It is a good game. The concept is like you're cursed and you're on a continent trying to alleviate your curse. It's kind of like Time Stories. You have to play through it a few times to figure it out and find the optimal path.
Yeah, you die a lot.
I actually like it. It takes a long time. It's hard to save. It's weird, but I just got 7th Citadel, so I'm just
you're getting on to the next one.
The next game is a crazy loud yelling fest of it's not a party game, but it plays like 8 players. It's a Euro game, actually.
Okay, interesting.
And it's called Sidereal Confluence.
I have not played this one.
Everyone's playing a separate faction. Each faction has a special power. You're trying to gather resources. Whoever has the most resources at the end of the game kind of wins.
All right.
You're trading over the table. Or under the table, and the trading is very like yelling matchy. I'll offer you this, but I'll offer you this, but I want this, but I want that. Like,
kind of like a bit of a live auction, like bartering type deal.
Yeah, and it's really cool. It's tough to justify ever breaking that out versus like a social deduction game at the player count that I think it's good at.
Yeah, fair. Yeah,
like at 8 or 9, I'm playing Blood on the Clock Tower or something.
Yeah,
I'm not playing.
Yeah, as soon as we hit 8 people, like Blood on the Clock Tower is coming out.
Next is another Ryan Lockett game.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, Ryan Lockett, just like I'm sorry, Jamie. Not because I love Ryan Lockett games. I play a schwackload of Ryan Lockett games. Just because I've played it and I've kind of had my fun with it, and now it's somebody else's turn, and that game is Above and Below.
Okay.
I don't need to spend too long on it. It's like a choose an adventure kind of like it's just a one-shot game you play through, but you can choose your adventure. You pull a bunch of story, and then you can play it again over and over and over. It's fun. It has story. The story's great. It's a Ryan Lockett game.
Yeah.
It's like Near and Far and Now or Never, which I have both of. More context as to why.
Yeah, that makes sense. Again, another game where you play through it, you've played the game, right? Pass it on to somebody else who's going to enjoy it and hasn't had that experience
Exactly. The next game that I am getting rid of is Carcassonne.
Oh,
which is a staple in the hobby.
Absolutely a staple.
It just doesn't get played.
Trailblazers, I think, is absolutely taking that spot.
Yeah. We played Trailblazers a lot. And I didn't play Carcassonne before Trailblazers, but...
I definitely agree. I love Trailblazers. It's one of my new favorites, I think.
Yeah. So, alas, Carcassonne.
All right, cool. No, next.
The next one to go is Point City and Point Salad.
Okay.
They're both kind of engine builders. They're just not getting played. I've played Point City. I haven't played Point Salad. Basically, you're just drafting cards out of a central display.
Yeah.
Using those cards are either buildings or resources. The resources build the buildings. The buildings give you more resources.
Yeah.
Loop.
Yeah.
Just not... Yeah,
there's so many other
It's a really snappy little fun game for 30 minutes. You can play with a few people, especially if you want like a lighter engine builder that feels like that. But we're not playing that.
And there's also a bunch of other ones that fit that category. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Then is another what's going to probably be a controversial one. It is from the same.
More spice.
Yeah, it's spicy. It's the same group that does Terra Mystica and Gaia Project, and it's the same group of designers minus one, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm going to see your logic
Age
here.
of Innovation. I prefer Terra Mystica of the two of them.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to get rid of Gaia Project because thematically
I'm
it's different.
really glad you're not getting rid of Gaia Project.
But it has to be, like, you don't need 3 of the same game, basically.
No.
So, Age of Innovation is not a bad game, but I have Terra Mystica and all its expansions.
Yeah, exactly.
And a 3D printed insert, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, if you have 2 of them, you absolutely don't need the others. Yeah. They're different versions of the same game, more or less, right? So pick your favorite, keep it. All right, next on the list.
The next one is a game that I was put onto by Tom Vassell of the Dice Tower. He loves this game, and I just don't see it.
Interesting, okay.
It's like Zombicide meets Diablo 2.
Okay.
And that game is Massive Darkness.
Oh, okay. I am a little sad about this one. Yeah.
So I have Massive Darkness 2. I have Heavenfall. I have a couple of the expansions. I have the upgrade pack from 1, and I have Massive Darkness 1. And like, look, it's clunky. Zombicide single scenario. I don't play Zombicide that much as it is. It takes the right group. Like our buddy
definitely.
Seth loves Zombicides. We set up occasionally, but like
Scott as well. Scott loves Zombicide.
Yeah, but it takes like an hour to play a whole scenario.
Yeah, it does.
Massive Darkness is so clunky. Like even like our first scenario took like 4 hours to get through. So we had to figure the rules out for all the characters, which is fine. But like a scenario shouldn't be taking like 2.5 hours for the first scenario.
Yeah.
Or the second. Like it's just so clunky. And the way that like each class operating and the way the loot system works and the way the monster spawning works, it's just super clunky.
Takes a long time to get everything going and actually like keep
and
the fun going.
And each class has its own finicky little thing. Like the rogues are pulling chits out of a bag to figure out whether they get like poison stacks or not or whatever.
Okay,
The berserker needs to get hit, and then it's general berserker stuff. They build rage and then hit harder, kind of like Tryndamere and League of Legends. And then you have like the paladin who like puts down circle like auras on the board, and then they do stuff. But those interactions between each other, some of them are so clunky and drag the game out. Like the archer has to like pull cards off a deck, trying to like push their luck and hit exactly 7 arrows on the cards or less or more, and then get certain bonuses, and then more things happen.
Yeah, that just sounds like it takes a long time to do anything.
So I'm gonna probably disagree with Tom Vassell on this one. I think it's fun. It's a really cool development. I love Diablo 2 and 3 more than anyone. Glass Cannon Unplugged. I had to check my Frostpunk box, but Glass Cannon Unplugged is making a Diablo board game.
I'm so
And
excited
I am
for
gonna, that is gonna
100
pain my wallet
like
beyond
1,000,000%.
any belief. But yeah, Massive Directors 2 was it.
The games that do not flow well do not get played often,
Yeah.
right? That
agree.
is simply like if a game does not have a good flow, if you can't just set it up and then play through it in a decent amount of time that feels right, it's not going to be something that gets tabled again. At least often, right? So, all right, cool. The last couple items.
It is Encyclopedia.
Okay.
It's a Euro game. I'd never really played it, which is why I'm getting rid of it. I don't have much to say about it.
Yeah.
It's just, something that never got to the table, something that never got played. I had it for a while.
Yeah, it's been on the shelf for
It's
a
a
long
midweight
time.
Euro. I have a lot of midweight Euros. We're getting flooded with midweight Euros.
Yes, yes.
So-
And you are a Euro lover, so there's plenty of options to choose from, and you're going to probably go for your favorites for the most part, right? Unless somebody's really down to play a specific one, and it hasn't been Encyclopedia. All right, John, your last choice for the call.
Yeah,
What's it
my
gonna be?
last game is a big box that I have, and I think you guessed it earlier. Or you were going to guess it earlier.
Yeah, I think
It is another Stonemaier game. I apologize, Jamie. I promise we're not picking on you. It is in favor of other games that you've created.
Yes, yeah. The other ones are staying on the shelf.
Yeah, and that game is Wingspan, for which I have
this
a
is what I
nesting
thought you were
box,
talking
every
about before.
expansion, 3D deluxe components,
Yep.
everything
Yep.
for Wingspan.
Yeah.
Now, before you enter a fit of rage, Wingspan is a great mid-lightweight engine building
Yes,
game.
it is. Yeah.
Now, Earth also exists.
Yes.
And Earth is a very similar game with a
In
very
a lot of
similar
ways.
itch. Not
Yeah.
the same game.
Yeah.
And no downtime. It might be more overwhelming. Like, that's a fair comment. It is way more overwhelming
that's
than,
true.
than
That's true.
Wingspan is.
There's a lot
and
going
keeping
on
track
in
of all
terms-
your cards is a lot to do with
Yes,
it.
that is true. That is true.
Like, I prefer it. I don't know.
Well,
Now, on top of that, sorry,
yes.
Jeffrey.
No, go ahead.
Wormspan also exists.
Yes.
And Wormspan
Yes, it does.
doesn't replace Wingspan. But
No, it
my
does not.
brain is going, Earth replaces Wingspan for me.
Yes, same here.
Wormspan is a different game that is heavier.
Yes.
And
yes,
is
it
therefore more up my alley than Wingspan was. There's a little more
definitely.
crunch.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
So, Wormspan plus Earth. Don't need Wingspan anymore.
don't need
Have the
Wingspan.
big box.
We know it's loved, but
Yeah, just
it doesn't hit for us.
don't
We don't
hate
table
me.
it. We don't table it. That's
Yeah.
just what it comes down to, right?
But there's
Different
other
games, especially if
action
you still
selection
love Wingspan.
engine builders as well that I've gotten recently that just
Yep.
contribute to this like circle of I have too many engine builders.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm getting rid of another one, but Point City, not even comparable, but light engine builder.
Yeah.
Race for the Galaxy, Roll for the Galaxy,
Yep.
both engine builders.
Yep.
Ares Expedition, another one, right? Like
Yeah.
there's just so many of that realm of game now.
Yeah, there's definitely an abundance of choice, right? Like
Yeah.
in that. And when there is that factor, you kind of have to narrow it down. You have to pick
Exactly.
your favorites, right? So
Oh yeah,
we
so
haven't
when we hit
decided on
1,000
that.
subscribers, we'll be doing a giveaway. It'll be
Yeah.
in the video following
Yeah.
hitting 1,000. If you want to watch our top 10 board games of all time, click there,
Yeah, if you want to subscribe, click over there.
and we'll catch you next time. I'm John.
I'm Jeff.
You just watched It's in Cardboard. Signing out.